Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We've got Stevie, Craig and Frank here with us to answer your questions. Thank you so much for sending them in. You think today was a what? A new low?
Yeah. I actually thought if I'd have known this, I wouldn't have come in. I thought we were actually at the Europa Conference. I thought we were at the start line.
It's just called the conference now.
It's just called the conference.
The UEFA Conference League.
Yeah. I learned when I entered the building, we weren't even on the starting line for the conference.
So you didn't, just because it was the playoff, it doesn't count in your world.
Correct.
Right.
Well, the conference doesn't count in my world, but...
Well, they've got one foot in.
So there's a playoff to get...
So this wasn't actually this was to get into it?
Yes. They've got one foot in there, though, now.
We've been doing this an hour.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So that was a playoff. So you've actually got a playoff to get into.
You know when I said playoff earlier, Stevie.
You know, during the live show, she corrected me. Kay corrected me.
I actually thought you made a mistake.
You don't correct Craig Burley lightly, so I had to make sure he knew playoff.
I took it on the chin.
Yeah.
I went, yes, you're right.
Wow.
So the conference playoff.
Sure.
So that was just a couple of laps before they get to the.
How many years ago did the Chelsea win the Champions League? 3.
When they beat City. 21.
3 years ago.
2020.
And now they're in the playoff for the conference. Oh my God.
You know who did watch it all? Frank LeBoeuf.
It says a lot. Yeah, it says a lot. And it's what I thought before the game. Is I can't believe somebody asked me to watch Chelsea playing in the UEFA Conference League playoffs. You know how low.
You love Chelsea.
Schoolboy era.
Went into. Yeah, but how low Chelsea
You should have said it wasn't on.
You know, that's crazy. Yeah,
Okay, Frank.
It says a lot about yeah.
Can't get
when somebody says to him,
can't get it.
is the game on in France? Your first answer to that is, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Nobody in France is going to show this guff. Nobody. I can't watch. You don't go, oh yeah, it's on the channel so-and-so. I'll sit and feast. Feast on the playoff. No.
Oh, well, he did. He loves Chelsea. And the first question is for Frank, and it's about Chelsea. Frank, 100% chance for Chelsea to win the Conference League, right?
Well, you know, I saw Lens playing against Panathinaikos in the first leg. One player got red carded after 20 minutes and still won 2-1. And I think the second leg is going to be awful for them because playing in a Greek stadium is always something special. But they can manage it. But I saw the two games at the same times because I'm very professional, and I can tell you there were two different pace of the game, and I can even tell you that Chelsea would have played Lens tonight. I'm not sure they would have won. Lens, they play with a pace, crazy pace, and Panathinaikos, they were pretty strong. So
we're getting loads of
Chelsea right now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Chelsea
every team that goes into the conference has a 100% chance of winning it.
All right.
I think on a technicality.
All right.
Panathinaikos, where can I find that?
In France.
France.
They put all the games on.
I need to move.
Okay.
I haven't got much to do tonight. You know, chat away to the dogs and have a couple of beers. I might go for a bit of Lens, Panathinaikos.
Get it on YouTube.
Yeah, you will. You can find it all over there. Stevie.
Is it a playoff? Or
Mudryk always makes the wrong decision with the ball at his feet. How would you help a player with incredible physical attributes improve his decision-making on the field?
Wow. Tell you what, that is the toughest thing in football. You can't replace brains. I mean, you can't. You can make somebody run faster.
What? Football brains.
You can't
Football
replace brains.
Brains. Brains. Chasing.
You crossed me off. The camera wasn't anywhere near me. No one would have known. Sorry,
Can't replace. We're having this conversation.
Seriously, you can't. You can make people run faster. You can. I mean, you can do all kinds of things, but the one thing you can't do is transplant football brain. Transplant football brains.
What about normal brains?
Normal ones, maybe you can work on, but football brains, no.
No, but
It's the most frustrating thing.
There is it's what I like. It's what I like about football. There is a knowledge, there is an education of football. Football is not coming only from the street. You have fantastic players who are so much gifted because they got everything, but they worked hard. Pele, Messi, Ronaldo, Cruyff, Platini, Zidane, they worked hard. They did not only try to do some tricky stuff down the street. And you have other players who have all those tricky stuff in their luggage. They think it's enough, and they won't reach that level because they don't have that education. And that's it. And Mudryk have a lack of education of football. He's a real talented, gifted player, but he hasn't got the education that you need to see before the others, to see before receiving the ball, to exactly know when to give the ball. Atem Ben Arfa was that kind of player as well, and I talked to him about that. He was capable of dribbling everybody, even all the fans in the stadium. But he wasn't capable of giving the ball at the right time, at the right moment. That's something special. That's an education. Football is a music. You have to feel the tone, and it's when you can play football.
To tell you the story with me and Paul, Paul and I had a player at the Revs, and it got to a stage where, because you've got to keep trying, you've got to keep telling them and keep telling them over and over and over to hopefully they get it. So now I was going to talk to this player, and I said to Paul, I said, right, I'm going to talk to you know who. I said, I want you to count how long it takes him before he starts nodding his head. Because as soon as he started nodding his head, I knew he had no idea what I was talking about. And the last time we did it, it was 5 seconds. He started doing that. I could see at the corner of my eye, he was laughing in the corner. I'm trying to keep a straight face. Honestly, he knew. As soon as he started doing that, I knew I'd lost him. He had no idea what I was talking about.
You do that.
And you can do it to you blue in the face.
You do that in here.
It doesn't get through.
I know I'm worried now about nodding my head in agreement.
He does that in here. 6 seconds.
You know what I mean? You're like, right. I don't think so.
Any Lons Panathinaikos questions?
Unfortunately not.
Right.
Manchester United question though here.
Okay.
Ten Hag said in the media that players will have to deal with it about sitting out games because of the depth of the squad. As a player, did you know that certain public comments by your manager were directed
So he's got
at you?
He's got a deep squad now. Has he got a deep squad, or is he complaining about injuries? So he's got a deep squad now. We can hold him to that one, or he's not been quoted, has he? So somebody might be making it up. So what's the point?
Did you ever know that certain public comments were directed at you by a manager when they'd say something like this?
Was it one? Well, look, I got in a bit of a mess with a manager at the end, but I won't go into that. So that was different. But at the end of the day, you're at a big club. You're Man United, at Liverpool, you're at Chelsea, you're at Arsenal. You've got to deal with it. Because hearing these, seeing the questions and hearing stuff about, oh, you know, wait, I know it's 2024 and everybody needs a bit of cotton wool around them. And people cry for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, upset. You wake up in the morning, oh, I feel offended. Nobody loves me.
See, nowadays, because there's such
Just
big
get on with
squads,
it.
because there's such big squads nowadays, right? Number one, I've got to think that right now, like the way the game is now, the majority of players, it's never their fault. So even though the manager's saying things like that, well, he's not talking about me.
Yeah, he has actually said sometimes they're going to be disappointed, but they will have to deal with it.
Aye, but all the way these guys' brains work now, well, it's not me he's talking to. Like, it's the complete opposite. You know, previous years would be like, oh, I wonder if he's talking about me. But these guys now, they don't even cross their mind.
Did you ever have this happen?
The other thing is as well, again, because there's such big squads, maybe 20 years ago and beyond, that's a different ball game. Because you've only got a squad of 14. And so you're only talking about 3 guys. So everybody knows exactly who's been spoken to. But today, the size of the squads, the number of subs, the whole carry on, they don't even think it's them. Well, you're not talking to me. They're not worried about that.
Have Craig, Stevie or Frank ever been frozen out of a team like Raheem Sterling? And if so, how did they respond? Frank?
Of course not. I captain all.
Over
I
to you,
captain
sir.
all way. Yeah.
Over to you, Mr. Starter.
Yeah. It's all for Craig. It's all for Craig. Talk to us about.
Well,
Yeah,
no, I'm
you're
not
right,
going to go into
Craig.
it, but I got... No. I never got frozen out at Chelsea. I never got frozen out at Celtic. I never got frozen out at Derby because I went in there as a relatively big signing and I ended up being the captain. But unfortunately, when management changed, I fell out with the manager. I'm not going to go into it, but I was well and truly frozen out. So much so that I wasn't even allowed to park my car in the club car park. And it got very
You
messy.
just said you were never frozen out. Now you can't even park your car.
What do you mean?
He goes, no, I've never been frozen out.
I never said
Now you
that.
can't park your car.
You're nodding your head again.
Go, rewind.
Rewind
the tape.
How would I say I've never been
Come on,
frozen
don't
out
be
like
sitting
that?
on the fence.
I was
Don't be sitting on the fence.
They've never been frozen out.
When?
The
least I think you did.
Moped show is back.
I've never been frozen out. Well, of course I've been frozen out. Frozen out at Derby.
What a U-turn that is!
Well, I'm just... sorry, I'm...
Full
I'm-
360 that is.
Oh,
I miss-
360.
I misspoke. I'm not going to go into it, but it was properly out in your rear. And I didn't handle that particularly well. Don't think the other person did either. And not one person was to blame.
To be fair.
So I take some responsibility for it, but there was aggravating circumstances. It was a bit of a mess.
Well, to be
There's no
to be
winner
fair,
comes out of it.
It's not surprising you never took it well. Who gets frozen out the car park? No wonder you never took it well.
Also, I tell you how childish it got, right? I think I've been on record on here, but certainly this is public knowledge. I was the captain at the time, right? I was injured and I'd struggled with my Achilles. I was in my 30s, and as anybody that's played and has struggled with injuries, when it gets to that, it's a problem, and you're constantly fighting it. But it got so silly. The car park was one of them. And the other thing was to take your name off the programme, your matchday programme. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Number 8 had gone. Apart from when Robbie Mustoe came in and took my training kit. Never forgive him. But he never got a contract, Mustoe anyway. He got done by the same manager. But that's how silly it was getting. And you know what I'm like? When that kind of stuff's happening to me, just steam comes out my ears. I ain't playing the political game here. I'm going in, I got the crash helmet on, his door's coming off the hinges, the lot. And maybe that wasn't the right thing to do, but that's how silly it got in the end. Very childish. And it's not a very nice place to be, really. You know, you're on the outside, you really are unwanted at a training ground. And I'd never had that before. That'd never been a problem, really, to any other manager or player. You'd have the odd argument. But never been a problem like that. But personalities just, unfortunately, just met head on.
Very surprising.
But I have seen the individual since. I don't want to go on about it. I have seen. Shall I mention it? No, I'm not going to mention it.
No. How was it then when you saw them since?
Fine. I don't know. I talked to him, and I would talk to him now. I don't have an issue.
Did it come off, that situation?
No, it was quite a few years later. And I saw.
Was it the classic? You kind of looked at each other and went, "Can you believe that?"
Not really.
Not really. Oh, fair enough.
No, but he didn't want to come down into part of the building where I was doing a commentary in England, in London, because I think he was wary of my response, my reaction. But my reaction was just to say, listen, what happened. No winners. But no, there was no winners, because he got the Dan Mack, he got the sack, and I got a free. There was no winners. So I have been frozen out. Don't listen to
you.
to me.
No, never been frozen
Oh,
out.
never
Never.
listen to me.
No, never been frozen out.
But I want to see that tape.
Oh, you should.
I'm in tomorrow. I want to see that tape.
You should.
That tape doesn't exist.
Aye.
I'm sure they'll get it. For all, would you have retired from international duty in your prime if you didn't get along with your national team coach? Similar to what Courtois said today. Frank?
No, never. As long as I would have a room inside the national team dressing room, I would come. I mean, it's more important my career than the guy, you know. Everybody is interchangeable, and you know that at some point the guy is going to be sacked, and you're going to wait. And we talked during the show the fact that the career is very short, and I had the chance to be with the national team for 7 years. Always been a pleasure, and the coach made some choices, and I had to accept them. I was sometimes frustrated, but I never thought about, okay, the guy doesn't think the same as me, I won't come. First, he would have been punished. I think it was forbidden, I don't know if he's still, to say no and to say I quit. But on top of it, it was such a pride to play for the national team that I would have never say, especially if I was Courtois, because I didn't get the armband, say, oh, it's over. No, I mean, it's not fair for the shirt, it's not fair for the nation and the fans. I mean, I'm so sad that Courtois didn't decide to carry on. It's gonna regret it. I'm pretty sure it's gonna regret it.
It depends at what level you don't get on. Look, when I after the '86 World Cup, I didn't particularly enjoy the coaches with the Scotland national team, but it wasn't at a stage where I wouldn't talk to them or anything like that. I just didn't really particularly enjoy what we were doing. But if you really do not get on with a guy and you don't want to see them or talk to them, then how can you possibly go? There's no way you can go. You're going to have to spend, 4 days at least? Probably 4, maybe sometimes 5, with somebody who you can't even look at. Why would you go?
Even though the rest of your teammates you probably would get along with, you can't put that into the back of your mind for your country?
No, because it's in your face the whole time. You hear us talking about how we...
Stevie,
you hear us talking about how you prepare for a game. How do you prepare for a game when you don't even want to look at the guy?
Stevie,
you know the guy can't stand you. Now,
yeah, but
I'm
who
sorry,
cares? How long did you spend per day? How long did you spend with the coach? You were in the same room. We were only in the dressing room at some point for like 2, 3, 4 hours per day. But otherwise, you don't see him. I mean, I remember every time we had to go to
2 hours too much. If it's that bad, I don't see how you can go. Honestly, I don't see how you can go.
Well, but there's two things. Yeah,
Okay.
Disliking a coach is one thing, and absolutely despising him is another. As Stevie said, we're talking, and I get Frank's point of view, I do, but we're talking levels here.
Yeah.
We're talking levels of there's dislike and there's despising, and it seems to me it is the latter with Courtois. He doesn't just dislike the guy, he despises him. And what, right or wrong, I'm not on any side here. Couldn't give a stuff. But all I'm saying is, if you're looking at it from his perspective.
Okay, nice stuff. Thanks for putting in your questions.
Thanks for what?
I couldn't get my words out at the beginning of the show either.
Nod your head.
It's been a long night.
Are you froze? Did you froze?
I was frozen out. Guys, thank you so much for sending in your questions. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again.